Okay, so it's time to able to get the next Chaos Emerald, so that way we can travel back to present day.
I found a Chaos Emerald.
Don't touch it!
What? What's this?
But we have to deal with, presumably speaking, the next boss fight. Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Mexi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog, in some cases Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3. So, last time, we've essentially manage able to continue doing the Forms Within Sonic story by not only experiencing one stage, but 3 stages overall. Like, we did somehow manage able to explore White Acropolis, and in addition to that, we also manage able to tackle through some of those town missions, so just to ensure for plot progression. And in addition to that, we also manage able to went into Crisis City, and also we did somehow manage to check out one of my least favorite stages in the game, which appears to be Flame Core. So today for this video is about the fact that we're going to be able to deal with this next boss fight right here, according to the forms of that particular boss health gauge. So potentially speaking of, this boss is actually known as Iblis, which, to be more accurate though, this is specifically Iblis Phase 2. And just like the forms of how it does it for Flame Core, I will say that this is by far my least favorite boss in the game, and it's also one of the worst bosses in the whole entire game, mainly because it's like a waiting game, and you have to fight this thing for both Sonic, as you can tell, but eventually at some point, if we get onto Shadow Story, well, you probably already know what's to be expected to come. So either way though, yeah, not much else to say about this, I guess. So basically, in order to able to deal with Iblis Phase 2 right here, is that for some odd reason, he was actually in forms of this little teeth worm kind of form. So as a result, all we have to do is basically we need to homing attack onto this glowing rock, and as a result, you have to wait until when he decides to attack you, and then eventually at some point, when he's come near towards you with that glowing rock, you're just able to homing attack right onto its eye, and you have to do this for roughly about 3 times. Now the reason why I say 3 times, because potentially speaking I was about the fact that, like I said before, this boss is a waiting game. So because of that though, sometimes the camera always attempts to mess you up at one point, because it sometimes goes into manual camera aiming, or in some cases there are a few rare occasions where you can't really see his attacks. Like, to be more specifically, I just really wish if the camera does not screw me up. So generally speaking, I was about the fact I can totally see why a lot of people seem to really despise this boss so much. In fact, whenever I first got to this point, in Sonic's story anyway, jeez, this boss gives me a lot of rage quits, specifically whenever I first played this game on the Xbox 360 version, mainly because no matter what though, it's about the fact I'm just sick of waiting, and because of that I just want to get a move on, and it's actually kind of difficult able to get an S rank from, because there are a couple of times though about the fact that, like I stated this earlier, that the camera really screws you up on this fight. And generally speaking though, it's about the fact that if you think you're gonna have to look after your rings count at all times if you really desperately want to get the entire S rank on this run. But turns out about the fact that if you dare accidentally land on the lava, you lose all of your rings in the actual lava. So because of that though, there's no way you can able to recollect them if you accidentally land on the lava. So generally speaking, I was about the fact that I just can't even believe we have to do this boss fight twice, by the way. Like, as a result, you can totally see what you know what I mean, about the fact that once we're able to, you know what I'm saying, if we get onto Shadow Story eventually. So because of that though, yeah, there's nothing else I can really say about this boss. So, and to make matters worse though, is about the fact that the actual pacing on this boss fight is really slow, especially concerning for the fact that you always have to watch this Iblis worm thing just do like a stupid little dance, and generally speaking I was about the fact that it's just a pace breaking fight. But either way, Something's worth noting for the sake of time is about the fact that, well, today's date, of course, is the 19th of February today, in some cases in 2024 today. Generally speaking, though, it's about the fact that recently I did somehow manage to play myself Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Switch remake recently, and overall, it's actually really fun overall. And, I was assuming that Iblis decides able to aim on the middle glowing rock, but as it turns out, he just aims onto the right for some reason, which I have no words. But hey, at least I did somehow manage to attack him at the very least, so I guess that's that. So anyways, now we go on to the last hit, so I think this is where things gets a little bit more of a struggle, which as a result, remember that particular annoying camera angle as where it attempted to screw me up right there? Yeah, as a result, I did easily get hit by that very annoying attack that he just keeps on, like, summoning through. So, yeah, I just despise this boss fight so much, and I just still kind of believe that, something tells me how to fight this thing twice, so... Oy. Anyway, so if you think he's about to come near to the actual rock, well, as it turns out, he's gonna do a bit of a sneaky plan. So, yeah, he just does that, and... Oh, jeez. Okay, come on. I really refuse to die, because if I do die, I have to redo the entire fight all over again, which, let me tell you, this boss is not fun. But, thankfully, we did somehow manage to take care of him at the very least, so... Oh, jeez. At least, thankfully, that, we can now able to actually get our next Chaos Emerald for reals, so now we can able to travel back into present day until we able to, it's a bit confusing, especially because concerning for the fact that we now need to deal with the forms of the stupid, time travel plot elements, which I know is a bit convoluted. And there's our low C rank, so yeah, that particular boss fight blows. So I could have expected able to get ourselves an A rank, so I can able to get even more ranks, or heck, even with the S rank, but still, like I said before, this boss is a total pace breaker, so that's all I have to say for this point. So, anyways, let's save our game right here. And, presumably speaking, we can now finally go back into Soliana ever since in before White Acropolis. So...
Chaos Control!
I get the feeling that both Rouge and Shadow is probably not going to join us for the time being, so I'm guessing they're working on something else.
Looks like we made it back in one piece.
Where did Shadow and Rouge go? Did they appear someplace else?
Those two can take care of themselves.
By the way, you might also realize about the fact that the actual expressions for specific characters is actually way lacking, especially concerning for the fact that it does kind of reminds me of like a similar vibe as the films of the 2019 live-action movie of The Lion King. That film also has some lacking expressions, like I can't really tell if the films of specific emotions for specific characters, so I get the horrible feeling about the fact that Mufasa the Lion King will have the exact same premise as the films of the 2019 remake of The Lion King, which, oh boy, I'm not looking forward to that. And the worst part about this is that, for what I've heard, about the fact that there was a character called Kiora that she did first appeared in The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, and as a result, to make matters worse, Kiora is going to appear on Mufasa the Lion King despite the fact that it was a prequel of the original The Lion King, and I was like, I just got my face palmed whenever I first heard about it, which, as a result, yeah, I'm done with the forms of live action stuff, specifically for Disney stuff, because what the heck are they thinking? So, anyways though, as you can see, we did somehow brought yet another upgrade to ourselves. That's what appears to be the Bounce Bracelet, which that particular ability is actually very similar to the forms of how it does it for the Bounce Bracelet ability from the likes of Sonic Adventure 2, where basically though, if you jump in midair, and if you press the square button, as you can tell on the loading screen, you can able to perform a little bit of a bounce, or the bounce attack rather. So because of that though, yeah, it plays pretty similar to Sonic Adventure 2, except the fact that you pretty much stuck in midair, or stuck at one point on that specific spot, so you can't maneuver yourselves while in midair. So that's the only drawback about it. And also, keep this in mind though, is about the fact that the actual square button itself, or the X button, depending on what version of the game you're playing, that maps the exact same button props as the light speed dash. So, if you come towards the forms of the actual Trail of Rings, like for example in Wave Ocean, alongside with the forms of Flame Core, you do realize about the fact that you might accidentally able to activate the Bounce Bracelet ability rather than just the light speed dash. So, I mean, kind of think about it, it was originally going to be able to actually access the forms of not only the B button for the Xbox 360 version, but also with the forms of the circle button on the PlayStation 3 version, but as it turns out, with both the B button and the circle buttons, depending on what version of the game you're playing, is underutilized. So because of that though, it's a little bit of a missed opportunity right here. So, anyways, here we go on to the next stage, as you can see, and we're able to actually ended up in Radical Train. And thankfully, this stage is actually really short, so it's just a matter of the fact that, well, I will admit though right away though, there was this one annoying segment in this particular stage coming up, which as a result, you see why in just in a moment. So, for now, we need to able to look after the train, because if you couldn't tell already, it's about the fact that we need to rush specific parts of the stage, because, as you can tell, there are some little bomb blocks, or specifically those fire blocks that are able to actually block the actual track. And you have to be fast on this part though, because if you let the train accidentally get exploded by those fire blocks, basically you will take a life away. And generally speaking though, assuming if you do activate the checkpoint, then obviously you have to respawn onto that specific checkpoint where you've last touched. So, now I believe we have to do this for about roughly 3 times, just in case about the fact that as soon as you're done with that, you can able to actually progress. And then if you think the level is basically done, well, there's actually more to it than that. And I must say that Radical Train is definitely a pretty harmless level to me anyway. Although despite there are some very weird decisions that we want to able to point things out. Like, for instance, I forgot to mention about this, is that you can now able to homing attack into rails, which, even then though, is a bit weird at first glance, but when you're trying to get the hang of it though, it's actually not too bad for what I've noticed, but it's just about the fact that I found it a little bit weird they managed to able to introduce that specific feature, that you can homing attack into rail grindings this time around, so, yeah, it seems pretty weird. So, I get the strong feeling that much like in Wave Ocean and Crisis City, I think something tells me we go into Mark Speed section. I'm pretty sure that seems to be the case. So, yep, Mark Speed section coming up. So, this is now the 3rd time we're going to be doing Mark Speed section right here. So, oh boy, this is going to be pretty tricky as far as I'm aware. Because, well, as you can tell, I accidentally ran into that specific train earlier and able to lose my rings in the process, so... But still, you can't able to actually move yourself in midair, so you have to able to put up with this archaic design choices right here, so...
Is Elise on board?
And in this part right here is about the fact that we need to dodge those specific bomb explosions right here, because if you dare touch the explosion right here, you lose your rings. So, yeah, you have to be sure you need to go either from left and right, and you have to be super gentle with the forms of specific movements. So, but exponentially, I've got myself another extra life. So, I have no idea how many extra lives I can possibly reach up to at this point, but I'm sure we'll find out more about it until whenever we proceed to this. So, and straight to the point, I've got myself my glorious, fantastic S rank. And I think the last time we actually had an S rank was back in Crisis City, so... And it seems that so far so good anyway, that I didn't die once during the forms of this particular playthrough so far. Although, don't get me wrong, there are some frustrating moments from time to time, which as a result, yeah, if we get into the next couple of stories up ahead, usually for both Shadow and Silver's story, oh boy, things get a little bit annoying and on top of that, frustrating at the same time. So, anyway, let's just go ahead and save our game right here, and exponentially we can able to once again rescue Princess Elise, although I'm pretty sure something tells me that she will get kidnapped again, so, jeez, this is getting tiring.
I knew it! I knew you'd return. You had to.
You again.
This time, there will be no more interruptions! The Iblis Trigger must die!
Sonic.
Ha!
So how was your little walk?
Ah!
Elise!
Ah! It's time to end this! Who? Mephiles! Why are you getting in my way?
I'm Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog.
So for the time being, both Shadow and Silver are having a fight, whilst meanwhile for Sonic, he's still basically chased after not only Dr. Eggman, but exponentially Princess Elise as well.
Now stop it. You have nowhere to go.
I would rather die than be your prisoner again.
So what are you going to do, Princess? Do you plan to jump?
Go, jump, jump, jump. No, Sonic, no, stop.
Farewell.
There she goes!
Sonic!
Don't!
You won't get away that easily.
Also, I don't know about you, but that particular sound effect does remind me of the vacuum cleaner for some reason. But either way, now I'm pretty sure no matter what though, we instantly go on to the next boss fight right here, which as a result, we are now fighting against the Egg Genesis. So, kind of a weird design, especially considering for the fact that it almost reminds me of, I don't know about you, because it's been about a couple of days ago since we've last played this game for sure, because you probably already know that we've already celebrated the 13th anniversary of the Mexi Toys just recently, since on Friday, and relatively speaking though, I still find this to be a pretty cool timing for the fact that not only we somehow celebrated the 13th anniversary of the Mexi Toys, but also about the fact that around that time when Mario vs. Donkey Kong Remake on the Switch did somehow came out, and in addition to that, Sora Amiibo from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate also came out. So, anyway, so here we go on to the next boss fight right here, and this what appears to be known as the Egg Genesis. And I will have to admit it though, this boss is incredibly easy, especially in the Sonic story anyway. Is that for one, the camera actually focuses on the boss, so hallelujah. And second of all, there are two different methods you can able to deal some specific damage to the forms of the Egg Genesis. Like, as you can see, I keep on doing the forms of this quicker, faster method by simply using a bounce bracelet ability, and you can able to homing attack onto the bottom portion of this weak spot. Or, if you want to do the normal method, is by simply you get able to wait until when these robots do somehow appear, and exponentially you have to deal with the homing attack chain, and you have to get onto that specific little arms right here for that particular Egg Genesis, and you have to make your way to the top of this head, and then you can either decide able to homing attack onto its head, or just simply use the bounce attack or just the bounce bracelet, so just in case you can able to deal some bit of damage. But personally speaking though, I found the normal method to be a little bit slow, so potentially speaking though, I was attempt to do as my favorite method by homing attack onto the bottom portion of its weak spot, so that way you can finish this boss fight quicker, so just to ensure for the fact that you easily get yourselves an S rank no problem. So, but if you think this boss battle is done, well, there's actually one more thing we need to take care of. Is that, as you can tell, the Egg Genesis decides to fall down and is about to crash. so we need to get away from it, so just in case you don't get hurt. So relatively speaking, once you try to spin dash into it, and potentially speaking, you can instantly get away from it, no problem. Oh yeah, something worth noting for is that unfortunately the spin dash ability is being incredibly nerfed in this game, because normally you can able to perform a spin dash on the fly from both Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. Unfortunately though, in Sonic 06, you have to stand completely still and then you perform it, because if you try to run while trying to able to press the square button or the X button, depending on what version of the game you're playing, you're able to do a swipe kick or a sliding maneuver. So because of that though, yeah, that's a bit annoying though, especially concerning for the fact that I always love to perform spin dash jumping in the previous Sonic Adventure games, because it is immediately satisfying to perform certain shortcuts and also some alternative paths you can take, but either way. So that pretty much takes care of the Egg Genesis, so once again we save Princess Elise yet again.
That was a gutsy move back there.
Well, I was desperate and, I just had to get away. I owe you a lot, Sonic. Sonic!
I'll head into the jungle.
Okay.
So, ever since in Dusty Desert, we will once again carry Princess Elise, so just in case we can able to get away from Eggman's robots, just like before. Except this time, we can able to actually just to start able to explore some portions of this new area for Soliana, which appears to be the forest portion. So, but here's the catch to this though, is that we need to make our way to the next level coming up, which as a result, thanks to the forms of that specific hit notification in the distance right there, so we can able to exponentially try to able to walk on water. But how do we do that? Well, ever since for that particular level in Dusty Desert, we can able to use Princess Elise's special orb power, so we can able to walk across it, and exponentially we can make our way to the next level, which appears to be Tropical Jungle. Almost kind of reminds me like a Tarzan vibes to it. Like as a result, we are just carrying Princess Elise, and exponentially we'll have to make our way to the end of the level as we expected. So yeah, nothing else to say about this, I guess. So anyways, let's talk about the evolves of another topic at this point today. Is that generally speaking is about the fact that we actually got ourselves a actual games lineup for the upcoming event, which appears to be EVO, which actually represents for competing each other for certain fighting games for specific matches and all that stuff. And we actually got a grand total of 8 games that has been confirmed for the actual games lineup for the EVO 2024. So as a result, those games are Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1, Tekken 8, which is the most recent game at the time, Guilty Gear Strife, I think is what it says anyway, Grim Blue vs. Rising, Under Night in Birth, and also the King of Fighters 15, and finally Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So that was the only game selections they can probably think about. Sadly, no Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, sadly. I have no idea what's happening to that, but either way though. I should also mention about this as well is that yes, I somehow managed able to get myself the actual Valentine's Rouge right now for the likes of Sonic Dash, so as a result it did took me about a couple of hours to able to unlock her. So generally speaking, I was about the fact that for the time being, I should probably start able to take a break on playing Sonic Dash for right now. So generally speaking, I was about the fact that I should also mention that we've already mentioned about the fact that with the specific items you can get on Sonic Forces Speed Battle, if you do manage to unlock Valentine's Rouge, the bat, like basically for instance, for 3 items wise, that she'll get Love Struck, Confusion Boost, and Shock Log. But as far as status, as far as I'm aware, she does have 9 out of 10 speed, 7 out of 10 acceleration, and woo-wee! That is exhilarating right there with that specific shot. So anyway, as I was saying, speed is actually 9 out of 10, acceleration was at 7 out of 10, and finally for strength, she actually got 8 out of 10. So it's actually a pretty good status for the actual you know, for 3 categories for that particular part. So, yeah, that's why I could really think about that. So, oh yeah, speaking of which though, is about the fact that, as I said this before, this particular stage does kind of remind me like a Tarzan vibe. Like, we can able to actually just rail grinding on specific tree branches, and also just going through crazy amounts of those rail grindings in general. And yeah, that's as far as I can say about it. It does kind of remind me like I was watching Tarzan again, which as a result, speaking of Tarzan though, for the actual, you know, the greatest Disney animated feature, that film is going to became 25 years old until this year. So yeah, I'm very curious to able to look back on it though, and I'm sure it'll be a lot more exhilarating while looking back on it again, but Journey forms of 25 years later syndrome. So and at this point, it's about the fact I'm pretty sure when it comes to Disney Renaissance era films, that exponentially they'll somehow reach onto 25 years ago kind of milestone. And eventually at some point that The Lion King is eventually going to became 30 this year, and until by that time, until next year in 2025, it will be Pocahontas' 30th anniversary, which, despite the fact I don't usually care for that film that much, because obviously that is by far the weakest of the Disney Renaissance era films, because it just feels a bit, well, meh to me. And on top of that, Toy Story is going to become 30 next year as well, so generally speaking though, it will be super revolutionary to able to realize that, well, you see why until whenever we get to 2025, so anyway, so we made our way to the end of a level right here, so pretty short, and potentially speaking though, unlike in Dusty Desert, where basically we have to go through 2 segments, which means 2 loading screens, and there's no mark speed section luckily. So, and speaking of lucky, I've got myself yet another S rank, so that's actually super top notch and everything. So, also, did you guys know about the fact that it's been 20 years ago since this particular TV channel called Jetix did somehow exist? Like, I already know that specific channel for a very long time. My guess is probably because Jetix usually decide able to bring out Sonic X, Journey forms within the UK channel, so something's worth bringing this up, so yeah, nothing else to say about this, I guess, so.
Looks like we've lost them.
I'll settle things here. Elise, you should go back to the castle.
Okay. Sonic? It's so beautiful. I've never seen so many flowers before. Sonic, have you visited many wonderful places before?
Yeah.
Once you defeat Eggman, you'll leave, won't you? Though I've been frightened many times, I've also enjoyed this adventure. It allowed me to be something other than a princess. I was able to be myself. A girl.
It sounds like being a princess isn't that easy.
It isn't sometimes, but I love this country. Everyone in the castle, the children, all my citizens, really. The same love my late father and mother had.
Don't cry, Elise. Become a strong queen who doesn't cry, no matter what happens.
And so, I do my best to protect my country. I understand everything my parents said to me now. Sonic, if you leave here to go on another adventure, remember this place.
Definitely. Elise?
I'm fine. Sorry. I mustn't cry. I can't.
Elise, smile.
Now, I would have liked to explain about the forms of more details of what's going on around the world. Well, I should probably save that particular topic if we continue proceedings for this entire Sonic story, so...
Princess Elise, ruler of Soliana. By refusing to negotiate with me, you have forced me to take drastic actions. Meet me at the specified point alone at 4 o'clock today. Failure to do so on time will result in my leveling of this city so that nothing but ashes remain.
Miss Elise! I cannot allow harm to come to my people. Miss Elise! It is my duty as Princess of Soliana to go. There is no other choice.
Oh, for the love of God, Eggman is not gonna give up on Princess Elise. Like, still, he obviously keeps on going after her, so just to ensure for a fact that the secrets of the Flames of Disaster, whatever that is. So, relatively speaking, I was about the fact that we're going back onto the Soliana Hub World, so just to ensure for the fact that we can able to take care of the next objective, which... for some odd reason, we're going into Wave Ocean, despite the fact that we've already did somehow explore for Wave Ocean ever since the beginning of the game. So relatively speaking what's the point of able to actually just showing us that particular objective? Well, as it turns out, as you can tell, we've now started able to take control of Tails for a bit. So just to ensure for the fact that we can able to take care of Wave Ocean for the second time. So yeah, I honestly have no words to say about this. Except this time around though, as you can tell, rather than just utilizing the forms of the light speed dash technique, so we can able to go through dash rings. So ever since in the forms of it, let's just say in Sonic Adventure, alongside with Sonic Heroes, I'm pretty sure that's where it's at, along with Shadow the Hedgehog as well, for the sake of the forms of some sections. So yeah, it seems kind of weird to able to actually go back into Wave Ocean in Sonic's story. So yeah, it seems a little bit redundant, kind of think about it. And exponentially though is about the fact that the actual level design in Tails' portion of Wave Ocean is very identical to the actual regular stage. Except this time around though, no Mark Speed sections to be found, and on top of that, oh jeez, there's a lot of slowdown there. Well, exponentially speaking though, if you keep on tossing those dummy ring bombs, which exponentially speaking though, it's a little bit distracting as far as I'm aware. Oh yeah, let's talk about the forms of some other topics I would like to point out. Is that recently, speaking of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate though, recently, I think fundamentally speaking though, is currently onto the last big update for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and as a result, it might be something to do with the forms of the most recent amiibo release of Sora from Kingdom Hearts. And as a result, that's the version update that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is actually currently onto right now. That's what appears to be on version 13.0.2. So, exponentially speaking, now, as I said this earlier, it might be something to do with the forms of the most recent amiibo release, and that's as far as we can able to say about this, I think is what it says anyway. Also, another thing is about the fact that it looks like when it comes to the forms of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, as far as this is concerned, Maria is actually confirmed for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and potentially speaking of, I am super looking forward to seeing what Shadow's backstory is going to be all about in the third Sonic movie. So because of that though, I'm sure about the fact that most Sonic fans, or a lot of Sonic fans out there, including myself, will be a lot more excited to see how that's going to be represented for. And Tails, why are you going back? You're supposed to... oh, there we go. I've no idea why it keeps on doing that every time whenever I play this stage as Tails, and potentially speaking, I was about the fact I just have no idea why. They just automatically changed the direction right there, so... And I think, fundamentally speaking, when it comes to everything else I can possibly say about it, well, I think we've only got about 3 more Mario games left for the Nintendo Switch lineup for 2024. Not Honor Ghost the Thorns of Princess Peach Showtime, which as a result, we've only got about 1 month left, almost anyway, until that game finally comes out, which I'm looking forward to it though. Oh, and speaking of Princess Peach Showtime, is about the fact that I was originally trying to able to mention more about that particular game, but I suppose we should probably let Coco Bandicoot be able to mention more about it if she decides to go back onto Klonoa Fantasy Referee series until tomorrow and Thursday and onwards. Now, everything else around the world on internet is actually pure chaos right now. In regards to the funds of when exactly is the next Nintendo Direct is going to be taking place. Now, as far as I'm usually concerned, that the next Nintendo Direct might be considered this to be, oh no, don't tell me they decided able to bring back my least favorite types of Nintendo Directs. That's what appears to be part of Showcase, isn't it? If it does become true, I'm not going to be happy with that, and I'll get my massive criticism for that until whenever that particular Direct exists for Partner Showcase, which I understand about the fact that Nintendo is almost going to be making its way to the next big system in the future, but for the time being though, it's just about the fact that we have no idea what the full confirmation about this just yet. So anyway, so once again, we somehow achieved the S rank. So yeah, pretty fantastic all throughout. So now I think fundamentally speaking, we're actually doing pretty good when it comes to achieving certain S ranks so far. Apart from a couple of exceptions, mind you, which there are Wave Ocean, alongside with Flame Core and Egg Cerberus, and, well, some other stuff in general, so.
You've wasted so much of my time. If you had cooperated with me earlier, I wouldn't have had to do this.
What are you trying to do, Dr. Eggman? Why do you wish to revive the flames of disaster?
Did your parents ever disclose to you anything about Solaris? Solaris's secrets are in his eternal flames. His power can change time, and even manipulate the fabric of time itself. I wish to obtain this power, and dominate everything in this world. From the past, all the way to the future.
You wish to rule over time?
Yes, truly. And the secret, it remains dormant in you, Princess. The Princess of Soleanna and the 7 Chaos Emeralds. Once I have everything, the fate of the whole world will change. And one of the beautiful gems is just ahead.
Chaos Emerald located.
Finally. Now, let's go collect that Chaos Emerald.
Oh, why does Elise get captured again by Dr. Eggman? I mean, Christ, did the writers seem to think how tiresome this was getting? Anyway, so now we've actually done with that, and now we need to head over to the old Soleanna Castle. But where is that exactly? Well, if I recall correctly, it's actually onto the next portion of Soleanna, which as a result is on the forest, if I'm assuming so anyway. So generally speaking, here's the catch. We do need to talk to someone in order able to actually access that point. So anyway, and I believe some more items is now in stock on the actual item shop. So we'll go ahead and buy those before we end off the video from that point. So just to ensure for the fact that we can able to spend on something for how much rings I've been gathered. So anyways, let's buy the green gem and the red gem and finally the blue gem for now. And exponentially there's going to be some more items along the way, so we're able to save that particular topic for later. So anyways, let's show off these gems right here. The first gem we have is the green gem, which allows you to able to create a little bit of a tornado thing right here. The red gem allows you to slow down time, and I believe the blue gem allows you to able to get a little bit of a top speed. So yeah, that's as far as we can able to say about this when it comes to gems. So anyway, with that being said, is that about the fact that we got endings of this point right here while talking to this man right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, is that we'll check out the old Soliana Castle. So I'll see you guys until on Wednesday. Later, fellas.